Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Fierce Female Friday, September 16th, and welcome to another episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is a Canadian Nigerian native, and he's known for his sexy hit singles such as Parental Discretion is Advised, Summer Lust, Stone Cold, and Funk Me Up With Your Love. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the incredibly handsome singer, songwriter, and actor, Mr. Stephen Voice. So let's get right into this interview. I missed you guys. I hope you guys all have been doing awesome. I took a break, I took a little hiatus, and I'm feeling so much better, and I hope you guys are too. I feel great, and I hope you guys do also as well. I'm feeling amazing today. Like, that break was definitely something that I needed. It's good to take time for yourself and focus on yourself. You got to take care of yourself and put yourself first, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you do not, you will wear out. I'm telling you. So please make sure that you are protecting yourself and making sure that you are staying in tune with who you are, more importantly. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our very special guest, singer, songwriter, actor, multi-award winning singer and songwriter, Mr. Stephen Voice. Let's get right into it.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome to our house. How are you, TGIF?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. I've been looking forward to this for a while now, so excited.
I am too. It's such an honor to have you here. So before we get into this interview, how's your 2022 been for you thus far? Because I know it's been a whole lot going on with this pandemic, of course, and I know you've been doing a lot of performances. So how has your 2022 been for you thus far?
I feel like 2022 has been almost like a rebirth in a sense in terms of musicality and the arts for me because 2020, 2021, everything was essentially on lockdown, and now things are starting to open up. For example, I got back into doing live in-person shows this year. Like it's been what 3 years I haven't done in-person shows. So I remember the first show I did this year. I was nervous. Like I haven't felt those nerves in a long time because I was so used to doing these shows all the time. And then lo and behold, after taking such a long break, a forced break, so to speak, getting back into it was a little nerve wracking. But like I said, it's like a rebirth or a re-beginning. And I'm having fun, kind of feeling those little nerves and jitters of getting back into the fray of things. And in one end, like I said, it's nerve wracking, but at the same time, we live for those moments because that's where the adrenaline, that's where the true creativity is born. When you feel fear, when you're about to do something you love, you know that you're doing something you truly love.
So let's dive right into it, Fashion Dogs. You were born in Montreal, Canada. Am I right?
Actually, no. So I was born in Nigeria, so Port Harcourt, Nigeria. But I've lived in Montreal for such a long time now because my mom was born in Montreal, Canada. So for me, home is split between Nigeria and Canada. So honestly, there are moments where I actually forget that I wasn't born in Montreal because it's so native to me now. But yeah, between Nigeria and Canada, I might as well have just been born in either or.
Canadian and Nigerian backgrounds. What was that like for you growing up? And when did you first decide that you wanted to become a musician?
Yeah. I'll start with the first question. Honestly, it was confusing as a kid because in my early years I lived in Nigeria and I'm a mix. I'm part white, part black. But in Nigeria, I was looked at as the white kid. So I remember everyone would call me, and in Nigeria they call it Oyibo, which means white boy or white person. And so like they would call me that, and then when I came to Canada, people would call me black, and so I felt this identity crisis of like, what do you want me to be?
Right.
So it was confusing, especially as a teenager, as a little kid. But in time, I've learned to just embrace that as just like, listen, I am who I am. Like, I don't need to be defined by one thing or another. To be honest, I'm happy just being who I am, and I know who I am. So, however people want to identify with as not who that person is, it's up to them. But I know how I identify myself. But music, to be honest, it was in my household. My mom was obsessed with Michael Jackson when I was a kid. Like we'd be in the car and she'd be listening to Michael Jackson. She bought his albums. I'm his album. I think it was called History. Is one of my favorites because it was one of her favorites. And so I loved how much she loved Michael, and I wanted to be like Michael because of that. And I would watch his performances and watch his live shows, not in person, unfortunately, but I would watch them on TV. And I was always like, man, I want to be able to do that when I'm older, to be able to make music, but not just make it, to sing it in front of a crowd and have people resonate so strongly with your music that they literally would faint. And I wanted that so badly, you know? I wanted that so badly. So that's where the passion and love for music was born. And ever since then, it's just been a journey that just kept progressing naturally.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry, that was my mom.
Mm, no
But
problem.
yes, you was telling us about when did you first want to become a musician, and how would you describe your music? Because I've listened to a few of your pieces, and I'm gonna go through the list here. And one
Yeah,
of my favorites is "Summer Lust." That is one of
yeah,
my favorites.
yeah.
As I was sitting in the chair getting my makeup done, that was what I was listening to. Parental discretion is advised. Stone Cold and Fuck Me Up with Your Love. And you also have some new music that you'll be talking about through this interview.
Absolutely.
So throughout your career, you've given us a total of 4 albums: Alone in the Crowd, Hidden in Plain Sight, Lords of the Gemini, and Prelude in Major Minor.
Yeah,
Now, what is the writing process like for you when you're going through and creating your music? Because I can definitely tell there's been somewhat of an element of Michael in
absolutely.
your music.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll start the journey. So, in 2015, when I started releasing music professionally, the first album I put out was Alone in the Crowd. And back then, I was going under the brand as just Voice, Voice with a little asterisk at the end. The Stephen Voice came after. And that's when I put out those 4 albums. But those albums came at a place of necessity. I was in such a dark part of my life. 2010, my mom passed away, and I found myself so lost, like in such a darkness, to the point where between 2010 and 2011, I couldn't tell you what happened because I was constantly high. I was constantly keeping myself in a drug stupor because I didn't want to face reality. And I remember one day I woke up and I was coming down from one high, getting ready to get into the next one. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I really did not like the person I saw. And I decided that I needed to do something. I needed to change that. And so for the first time in my life, I turned to music as a way to to save myself, to let go of all the pain that was inside. And I started writing and recording, and it all came from a place of just a need to release. And that's where those 4 albums came from. It's like between 2011 and 2015, I was just writing. And in 2015, I met a producer in Montreal going by the name of Souks. We've become really good friends ever since. And he helped me not only produce some extra songs and some of the albums, but also help me define my own production style and help learn how to distribute my music. So 2015 came around and I said, it's time to release all the songs I had written from that time onto 2015. And so I put out Alone in the Crowd, 45 songs in total. And from that point on, it was just back to back to back between 2015 and 2017. I released 4 albums, releasing all of this pain, all of this anger, all of this sadness.
Interview.
No worries. And then one day in 2000, I think end of 2017, after releasing the
An
last album,
interview. I'm sorry.
no stress. At the end of 2017, I realized that I was ready to let go of that dark place and explore music in a different way. And that's when Stephen Voice, was born. I brought my first name into it. And that's when I started to recapture my love for Michael Jackson style. And that's where Summer Lust was born. And that's where the journey that everyone knows me as today came from.
Okay, okay. Now, you've also pursued a tech career, and you also are an actor as well too. So how do you find that balance with making sure that everything parallel and correlates with one another?
Yeah. So when it comes to tech, to be honest, since I was a kid, I was obsessed with math. I've been obsessed with the universe, in my free time. And even to this day, I do math. Like I'll do calculus just because. And so pursuing a tech career was kind of almost natural my dad actually studied electrical engineering, and I wanted to also follow his footsteps. So I was following like, the inspirations that were around me, and it was my mom and my dad. My mom was very creative. My dad was very analytical, and here I was in between with both like facets of being kind of integrated into one. And at first, it was difficult because I had a hard time separating one person from the next until I realized that they're all just who I am. Like, there's no separation. It's not that, when I'm making music, the math part of my brain turns off. It's like, no, they're always symbiotic to one another. And so I no longer feel like I have to balance. It just kind of feels like I'm just naturally doing what needs to be done as this person that I am. And acting came from all the little skits I would do on, Vine back in the day. My friends would tell me like, you should take this acting thing seriously, and I tell them, nah. But one day I decided, you know what, maybe I should. And I reached out to a few agents in Montreal, and I got a few of them that were interested. I signed with one of them, and here we are. I'm also an actor, which is crazy in my head, but like, I think it's testament that you never know what you can do until you just kind of put it forward. Like, you speak it to the universe, and you walk in that direction in some way, shape, or form. You'll do the thing that you want to do.
Okay, okay. And you get into it. And let me see, we have a question from Alan. Shout outs to our paternal. He wants to know, how do you deal with certain people saying that your music is not black enough or white enough?
Oh man, I've gotten I've gotten things like, we can't play your stuff, with the R&B stations because it's more pop music, and then pop music will say things like, oh, we can't play your stuff because it's more urban, and you just like, and so I've always felt like I think they're just excuses, to be honest, and
Yeah.
and for me, it's sad that anyone can allow themselves to live in a world where they're so narrow visioned as to what anything is supposed to be. And a lot of the times it's political. It's political, and like, I've had, I'm gonna say it, I've had radio stations, like a particular radio station in Montreal, that where one of the hosts told me that your song is a shoe in for this station, but there's a high chance they're gonna get political and tell you it's too urban. And that's exactly what they did. And from that moment, I realized, you know what? People are going to believe what they want to believe. I'm having fun doing what I love, and the people that love what I do love what I do. So everything else is everything else. So like, I'm not going to conform to be one thing or another. I'm just going to be the person that I am, because why would I limit who I am just to fall into one bucket or another? I can't.
And I know you've seen the trailer for Whitney Houston's newest film.
Mm,
That was something that was asked to her on the radio station in one of her interviews back. And if you guys go back and take a look, they asked her, how do you feel about certain radio stations not playing your music?
hmm
Like crossing over to pop or R&B. It was definitely that. Which brings me to my next question for you. How do you feel that the music industry is changing?
I feel that more and more the world is, I mean, obviously we're all more and more on social media. So
Yes.
the shift from, conventional TV or like radio is now shifting towards the online world. There's more weight and power in having your song on playlists as opposed to having your song on the radio. So like, even now when I release a song, I put more weight onto getting into as many hands of people online versus getting into the hands of people on the radio. Not to say that radio is still not important. It is there, but there is a shift. And I think that shift also gives more powers to creators, more so than before, because there was a point in time where the only way your music can come out was if you were signed to a label. Like, that was the only way you'd get your music out, and if you didn't, then like, you'd be known locally, but that's about it. And if you're lucky, maybe, on a national scale, but it would require you to physically have to go distances. And but in today's world, like, you have all the tools at your disposal. So on one end, it's great because you have all the tools to do what you need to do. On the other end, there's so much out there that you really need to be all that you are. Like, you have to be your most unique self so that you can stand out. And I see a lot of people trying to copy what's already being done, and that's to their detriment, because they believe like, oh, well, if this works for this person, it'll work for me. but that's a surefire way of getting lost in the sea of clones. But if you want to really stand out, then just be yourself. Just lean into the thing about you that makes you you, and just lean into that. And that's what I do. I lean into myself, and that way I never feel like I need to market my way any particular way. I'm just being me, and then that's all that there is.
Absolutely. And in the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that Michael Jackson was one of your mom's favorite singers and performers, and
Hmm.
you've also been part of one of his music legacy. And like I said, I can see that element of Michael through your music, but you
Hmm.
have your own flavor and flair.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said, which is originality is key, because when there's a lot of new up and coming musicians, there's the comparisons between the two.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're just like everybody's in their own category. Yeah, we can have similarities, we can have similar sounds or whatever, but everybody has their own thing when it comes
Hmm.
to songwriting music. So my next question for you is, what is your daily routine? What do you do before you get in the studio and creating your music? Because I know you like to have a certain type of element.
That's a good question. I can't say I have like a routine. It's more like I do a lot of things in the day. I feel like one of the things that drives me crazy is like I see a lot of like you'll see a lot of this, I'm gonna get a lot of influencers pissed at me, but like they'll see a lot of influencers post things like every morning, like before, when I wake up, I do this thing and then I do that thing, and then you just like, come on, man, like let's be real. Like so for me, it's more like I wake up and I go through the kind of the checklist of things I need to get done. Like at first, like I need, even the night before, I look at the things that need to get done, like the necessities. But in between all those things, I make sure I do things like going to the gym. Like that's really important for me. Like I go to the gym like 5 times a week. I make sure I get that time in because it's so important for my, not just for my physical state, but for my mental state. Um, I make sure that, works that need to get done, at least priorities get done that day. And it's just a matter of just setting that timeline for myself in the day, but also making sure that within my day, I have time for myself, even if it's for 5 minutes, but just have a moment just to like go for a walk or play video games or something, but like just do something. But really, like, no, there's no set routine. It's more like I really am. I'm very punctual in terms of like getting things done. So I just look at what has to get done. I set timelines to get them done. And then between those things, I do the things that I truly care about, like creating, going to the gym, going for a walk, spending time with myself, spending time with my girlfriend, all those things. So yeah, there's no routine. It's more like I just make sure that I live.
Right. And the same here for me. I know I love to create vision boards,
Hmm.
and I love to plan ahead and write things down. Like I literally have a book where I write things down. So I'm always on task with what I need to do.
Yeah.
And like the knocking that you guys heard at my door, my mom forgot that I had. And every day I always let her know like I have something set this day so that there's no confusion or mix ups or anything. Let everybody know, if you're working with someone and so forth.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's cool. I love that, like setting a vision board. I do the same. Like in my head anyway, I visualize what I want to have happen in my life. And then I just kind of pick away. I kind of start walking in a direction, start to pick away at that until I make that thing a reality. So I think that's what it is at the end of the day. It's like, don't put so much pressure on yourself
Yes.
to like get to the top of the mountain, because the top of the, most of the time, like you'll walk towards the top of the mountain and then you'll find yourself changing directions. And then and suddenly that top of the mountain is no longer the most important place to be. Or you'll keep walking and then one day you realize you've long since scaled that mountain. So like take stock in right now and the things that you're doing, the things you've accomplished, be proud of them, but it's all about like mini steps, not the giant picture.
Absolutely. We have another question from you for
Mm,
Island. The Island Nation wants to know, have you ever thought about forming a radio station for artists who don't fit a specific category of music as we need to? Because that happens in
yeah.
this industry.
Yeah. I don't know about a radio station, but I've wanted to create like some sort of label without being a label, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to create like a record label where a person signs their soul away to me. Like no, I want to create like a place where artists can have the outlet to release their music and have the same tools that a label has. And for the most part, those are the distribution elements, the marketing elements, all that stuff. I want to be able to give them that ability, and have them release their music and have that music get a chance to be heard. But about a radio station particularly, like, I don't think I'd ever want to do that. But if I ever get to the point where I can get a playlist, like a Spotify playlist that has a whole lot of attention, I will absolutely make sure that the underdogs are always at the top. Like, I'll make sure, like, oh yeah, before Bieber, it's gonna be this person who I really like that hasn't been discovered yet. Nothing against Bieber, I love Bieber. I'm just saying, like, I want to make sure that the underdogs get seen.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's funny you've mentioned him because a lot of artists were formed out of Canada.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, of course we know Drake, and
yeah,
then there's Deborah Cox as well too. So
yeah,
there's so many out here that came from Canada and
yeah.
all over. What advice would you give to your fans who are out here who have an inspiration of getting into the music industry? Wait, before I ask the question, we have a question from you, Eileen. So basically, a label that still remains with independent artists.
Yeah, absolutely. That question. Yeah. So yeah, basically a label that is, it's just really just, it's not even a label. It's just a place virtually, or
Okay.
whatever you want to call it, for artists to be able to release their music and get a chance to actually be seen. Because that's the biggest, I think in today's world, that's where labels still have power, is that at the, that's because artists now can create their own music. We can record our own music. We have the tools. It's all like, to an extent, it's affordable for us to do. What's hard is getting it into the right it's the right ears, getting the right, magazines behind it, getting the right DJs, blah 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 blah. Um, but so I want to create that network where, like, hey, artists, you have a dope song. Let's run it through the channels so that it gets the attention it deserves and gives you a chance to be truly seen. That's what I want to do.
Absolutely. And yeah, the question I was going to ask you
Yeah.
was like, what advice would you give to some of your fans that are looking to get into the music industry and the music business and who don't feel as though, okay, I don't fit in this specific category of music? And there are artists out here, I can name a few. Of course, Whitney Houston is one of my favorites. Another one is Janet Jackson. Like, she changes up all the
Yeah.
time, and that was a problem for her as well too. It's not pop enough, it's not R&B enough, but you worried about making sure that you get airplay on all of the television networks and radio stations.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So what advice would you give to artists who are looking to get into the business who can't find, where they fit?
Yeah, I would say, like, if you think about any of the greatest artists, like you said, the Janet Jacksons, the
Yeah.
Whitney Houstons, even the Michael Jacksons, because even Michael, he fluctuated a lot in terms of his style. Eminem fluctuated a lot with his style. Sting, I mean, you can name so many. They play around with their style and they have fun, and a lot of the times it's so hard to place them. Like, oh, it's like blah 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 blah. But look at them; they're all classics. They're all greats because they allow themselves to be the artist that they deserve to be. It's a harder journey, yes, but it's more rewarding. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't even want to make music anymore if every single song I made sounded exactly like the same song. Like, if every single song I made was a carbon copy of the one I made before, then I don't know what the point is, because life is all about evolution. Like, you're supposed to look back at your work and say to yourself, oh man, if I could go back in time, I would have done that differently. Like, like you're supposed to be able to do that with your work. So just embrace that side. Like I said, lean into it. And, like, we live in an online world. You will find your people, like, you will. And then once you find your people, everyone else is going to be like, oh, who is this person? Because that's just how it is, right? People tend to gravitate towards people that already have an established crowd. But the only way to get that crowd is to build it by being your unique self. When you build it, those people will come and everyone else will follow. So just, like I said, lean into that, collaborate, look for other artists that are trying to break the mold and create with them. Not like, I've seen the best music come from people who are so different in their style but come together. Like, my best friend, her name is Jess Abram, and she has a very trip hop, like soulful, but I can't. It's a very eclectic style, very different from mine, very different. But when we work together, like people tell us like those are their favorite songs of ours because like we marry our worlds and something brand new is born. So find your people, find all those people that love to live and experiment with their music and create with them, and that's how you're gonna find your peeps.
Okay, okay. All right, so we're going to do a little game here before we talk about this new single.
Let's
We're going
do
to
it.
go through some of your singles, and you
Okay.
give me one word to describe each one. Okay, so the
Okay.
first one is not your type.
Oh, no, your type. I'm gonna say it's omnipotence. That's the word.
Mm, okay. Another one of my favorites, Pump Me Up With Your Love.
Oh, oh, I'm gonna go with soul. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, okay. Beautiful Morning.
Beautiful morning. I'm gonna go with inspired. Yeah, yeah.
Kind of Time.
Which one?
Kind of Time. Kind Time.
Can't I started to hear that.
Kind Time.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go freedom as well. Yeah, freedom inspired. Kind of the same idea. Yeah.
All right, and this one needs no explanation. Parental discretion is advised.
That one screams sex. That's what it is. That song oozes sex. That's what it is. There's no, you can't hide it. It's not the song is not a metaphor for anything. Like you won't listen to the song and go like, I wonder what he's trying to say. Oh no, you're gonna get it right off the bat.
All right, and it goes right into details. If you guys haven't heard it, go and listen to it. But
Go check
speaking
him
of
out.
singles, you have
Yeah,
a new single that dropped today.
yeah,
Everybody Needs Somebody.
yeah,
So tell us a little bit about it. It
yeah,
is a up-tempo song. It is a song that gets you going.
yeah.
And I was listening to it also. So tell us a little bit about this from the production and everything.
Yeah. Everybody needs somebody. Yeah, that song. So Jacko, I'm gonna tell you a story how. So Jacko is the producer on the song, and she's the where it's her song featuring me. I do the vocals, I did the vocals and the lyrics, and she produced the music. But I'll tell you how we met, and I'll tell you what the song's about. So when in 2018, when I released Summer Lust, I was looking for ways to get it heard. So I went on Instagram and I just wrote DJ, like search DJ, and like a bunch of DJ names came up, and I wrote them individually, going, "Hey, my name is this person. I'm Stephen Voice, and like I just released this song. I'm just writing you. I know it's unorthodox to do so, but like if you like the song, feel free to spin it. If you don't, I totally understand." That's what I did. Like I just took my shot, and a few DJs got back to me, but Darcy got back to me, and she was like, "Listen, I've had a lot of people hit me up, and like I heard your song, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to be spinning this." And from there, we just started becoming friends. We started talking. We started chatting. She told me she was also making music herself. And a few months passed, and she sent me this instrumental that would eventually turn into "Everybody Loves Somebody" and "Need Somebody." She sent it to me, and she said, "Would you be down to do a song on this?" And I was like, "You don't even have to ask." So like I sat down, heard, listened to it, and the song was I wrote the song in based on the way the music made me feel. And I
Yeah.
sent it to her, and that was like done. I think maybe latest 2019 it was completed, and we were just, and ever since then we've made a lot of songs together. But like that one was one we were looking for the right label, the right someone to put it out, and finally, this label called Insomniac Records. We connected with them, and it just worked out. It just worked out, and so the song was released through them today. And that's what it is. Everybody needs somebody. Like, what is the song about? I feel
Yeah.
for me, the song is twofold. There's the chorus, and then there's everything else. The chorus is about obviously saying like, "Hey, everyone deserves love. Everybody needs someone." But then the verses are really about someone that is trying to get someone's attention. Like they're trying, and maybe in a way that this person trying to get might be toxic for them. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's a mix between lust and desire and like maybe forbidden like attention, while also saying like, but hey, everybody needs love. So that's what the song's about, and it's upbeat, it's fun, and it's out today. So go check it out, please.
Let me read some of you guys' comments. Play Music says you are such an inspiration, Stephen. You remind us daily
Aw.
to never give up. And that comment came in perfect timing along with this song. because I was just about to say the song goes along with the climate that we're in right now. Everything
Yeah,
that's going on in the world. People
yeah,
need something that will uplift them and make them
yeah,
feel good. And
yeah.
this song does this. I was listening to it before, the interview and everything when you sent it. I said, oh, yes, this is definitely a hit. Even though we're going into the fall months now, this is still a song for the
Yeah,
summer
yeah,
that can get people in the mood and make them feel good about themselves. Because it
yeah.
is true. The song has a powerful message, which is everybody does need somebody.
Everybody
Right
needs
now,
somebody. Yeah.
we've been socially distanced, of course, separated away from family and friends. And this right here speaks numbers. So go check it out if you guys have
Oh,
not. Please go and
thank
check it
you. Thank you.
out. All right, Fashion Dolls, it is question hour. Do we have any questions for
Mm,
Stephen or myself? I see a lot of new faces in here, ladies and gentlemen. And my question for you is, Stephen, is when can we expect a project and what's in store for 2020? Don't give away too much, but
okay.
we know that the months are going out slowly but surely, and before you know what 2023 will be. So what are you manifesting for 2020?
Well, so I actually have the next song is I'll tell you the next song is a song called "Scream About It," and it's very it's influenced by uh the song "Scream" by Michael Jackson, and it's influenced by the edgier sound that Michael Jackson had, especially toward the end of his career, where like everything was like he was
Yeah.
angry at the industry. So that song is really it's another song about exclaiming power, about exclaiming like what I deserve. I could tell what the song's about right off the bat. The song for me is about me refusing to conform, no matter how much money you throw at me, I'm never going to change who I am. So that's what the song is about. Scream About It. It's very 80s, dark 80s driven, very high intense song. So we're in the process of finalizing the master for that song right now. So it should be out, if not October, November, but it's going to be out this year. But at the same time, I was inspired a few days ago, and I composed this little tiny snippet of a song that I released actually on Instagram a few days ago as a reel, like just a little bit of the song. And the song was called Emotion. And very emotional. I was feeling really emotional. So I hit my piano and I started playing, and that little piece of a song was born. I put it out and people really responded to it. And so I said, I'm gonna turn this into a full song. I'm gonna turn this into a full song. So that will be released really soon. I finished recording my parts. I'm waiting for a verse from a very talented rapper named Lucky De Niro. Once he sends me his stuff, we're gonna put it out. We're gonna release it without like I want to release that song without giving it too much, like I'm not gonna go like, oh, I'm gonna send it to all the people and make sure everyone
Right.
hears it. And no, the marketing will be very minimal. It's gonna be one of those like, I'm just dropping this, enjoy, have fun. Not everything has to be released like with a big hoopla. It's gonna be one of those songs, and I hope people enjoy it.
Okay, okay. So, any more acting in the future? Can we see you on the big screen sometime in 2023?
So I'll tell you. So okay, I'm gonna tell you a few things. So before the pandemic, I was planning. We were not planning, but we started the pre-production and the production on a few projects. One of them was a TV series where I played a space pirate. We filmed the first episode, and then the pandemic hit, and so like it's been on hiatus ever since. So I'm waiting for that one to pick up. There's two feature films that I got cast in that I'm waiting for those to pick up as well because they're fun. But beyond that, I'm just doing a lot of auditions right now with my agent. I'm actually manifesting to be. I want to play a superhero in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want to play a superhero. So right now, I'm going to the gym hardcore, more than before, training with a trainer to get myself into my peakest form, into like my final form, and then I'm going to find a way to audition for a Marvel movie so I can play a superhero. So if anyone has, I would love to know people who do people think I could play. I'm curious who people think I could play in the MCU. Please let me know.
Sound off in the comments, ladies and
Sound
gentlemen.
off. Let us know.
And we got another question for me from Island Yankee. Island Yankee wants to know, have you ever listened to some of your old songs and released it again because your music ears have grown?
I have listened I have listened to some of my old songs that never got a chance to be released in the first place. And then I've taken elements from them and turned them into a different song and then released those. So I've done that. A lot of songs that I've already released, um, I've listened to them and gone like, oh man, if I can go back in time, like I said, I would change this and change that. But to be honest, I don't think I'll ever redo them because I feel that they came out when they needed to come out. You know,
Yeah.
like, and it's kind of one of those things where like sometimes an artist will hold on to a piece of work trying to make sure that it reaches its perfect form or it's like reaches like the perfect pinnacle of what it's supposed to be. But the truth is, it never will because as an artist, you're always going to be evolving. So when you achieve what you think is the best, by the time that happens, you're already beyond where you thought you were going to be. So you sometimes you just have to let things go and trust that that's when they were supposed to come out, and that it is what it is, and allow yourself to let it go so that you can move on to the next thing, so that you can keep evolving. So I don't know if I'll ever re-release them, but I would love to do a show where I do like a massive set and revisit a lot of the old songs that some people may not even know. Like a lot of the voice era songs, a lot of people don't know them because it was a very it was like that was the beginning of my career really, and so the people that have been following me ever since then, they know those songs, but the people that were introduced to Stephen Voice because of Summerlust may not know that material. So one day I would love to do a show and be like, hey, everybody, this is the song called Relapse or Beautiful Pain, or, you know, like whatever the songs I have back there. There's so many, but I would love to just let them learn about that historical era in my life and have them discover that music.
And to see where you're at now at this point of your life, with this
Yeah.
new different style, that elevation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like you truly appreciate an artist when you know their full journey. Because like you go like, oh wow, I can see how you got here. You know, like, and it's a beautiful thing. So I want artists I want listeners to discover those old songs and you know, let me know like how those songs make them feel.
My last question for you is while we're
Oh no,
waiting
last
on.
question. I'm having fun.
All right, professionals, keep those questions
Keep
rolling
on
in the chat.
coming.
Have any questions, you can type them in the comments or you can type them in the question bubble below. My question for you is how do you protect your peace as an artist with everything that's going on, the social construct that we're in? How do you protect your peace? Because I know I took a break. I did not do a show yesterday or the previous day before. I did a show Monday, if I'm not mistaken. But I literally took a break and I kind of had to detox and get my thoughts together, my mind together. Self care is important. So, for you as an artist, how do you instill your self care to ensure that you're okay with the climate right now?
Yeah, I stopped going by those you know those mantras you hear a lot, things like I'll sleep when I die, or like, you know, no rest for the wicked, all that stuff. Like, yeah,
Right.
sure, they sound cool, but they're very harmful for your mental health. Like, you need to take breaks. Breaks are actually productive. This whole idea of like I'm gonna go, like you think that it's gonna take you far, but what it's gonna do is it's gonna burn you out, and you'll be forced to take a break, and that break is gonna usually be a lot longer than you think. Taking 5 minutes, taking a day off, taking 2 days off, that allows you to reconnect with yourself and just, you know, come back stronger. But like, or taking 2 weeks off if you need to do it. But like, if you just keep going, you will burn out. And usually that burnout leads to mental or physical injury that keeps you out of commission for a long time. So this whole I'll sleep when I die, it's highly unproductive, and it's very dangerous to our mental well-being. And I honestly, I don't know where that idea came from. I don't know why we believe in that, but it's something that we need to change. So for me, for example, I do it. I still do it now, but like there was a series I was doing on Instagram called Me, Myself, and Steve. And like I said, I still do those little series, like the little skits where I play three different versions of myself. And at one point, it was a weekly thing. It was weekly, and I was putting them out, putting them out, putting them out. And I did it for 3 years, and I was burning out. Like it got to the point where I was exhausted, and I was doing them because I felt like obligated to do them. And then one day I just decided like, you know what, like it's time for me to put this show to bed because I felt like I've said everything I want to say with these characters. And I feel like if I keep doing this, it's only gonna just be because I'm doing it for the sake of doing it, and it's gonna lose its love. So I decided to stop the show. I was like, guys, hey, I know you guys love these characters, but it's time for me to let them go. And so I did. And then it was like a year or so that I didn't touch these characters. And then one day I missed them. I said, I miss these characters. And so I brought it back, but I brought it back in a way that's healthy. I release an episode whenever I want to release an episode, So take time, disconnect, walk away sometimes from the things that you feel that are starting to feel no longer like you're passionate about them anymore. You feel more like you're obligated. Walk away a little bit, take distance, and then you'll rekindle your love for it, and you'll find a better way to do it so that you no longer feel like it's a strain on who you are. So protect yourself by letting go of that idea that you need to keep going until you die. Because if you do that, you will hit that rock where unfortunately it could turn fatal. So protect yourself, protect your mental health, and don't compare yourself to everyone else's like career paths. You have your own, and your own is your own, and it's the one that's going to be the most meaningful to you and everyone in the long run.
Self-care is very, very important. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And I said that in the beginning while I was introducing Stevie. I said, I know you guys didn't see me. I know you guys missed me because I've been posting and my stories and everything, letting them know what I've been up to.
Yeah.
And I came back and the break feels pretty good. I feel
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenated. You guys can see it all over me how relaxed I feel because I've been taking time for myself. And
Yeah.
self-care is very, very important. Doing this platform 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, it can totally take a toll on my body. So I
Mm-hmm.
literally have to take
Yeah.
breaks in between. If somebody, reschedule something with me, that will give me a day to take care of myself, balance out family life and things like that. So it's a job. It's a
Yep.
job.
Absolutely.
And someone gave you a superhero shout out to our fraternal Alan Yankee. He says, you are too nice. So Batman, because he's smart.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I would love to play Batman, but you know who I'd actually love to play more is ironic because I said I want to play a superhero. I would love to play in a DC like one-off where it's like a different universe. I would love to play the Joker. I feel like that would be a character that would be so much fun to play. So much fun to play because he can go off in any direction. I feel like especially as an actor, as a creator, I feel there's so much more you can kind of dive into and tap into as the Joker versus Batman. But honestly, Batman's my favorite character. So like, I'm not stepping on Batman here. Batman is my boy. But I would love to play the Joker.
So the opposite, we're doing the opposite. Okay.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
Fashion dolls, any more questions for Steven or myself? Joker is a dangerous character to play. Yes. So
Yeah,
many people have played it throughout the years. And I think Michael Keaton did it and so many others. So yeah.
yeah. I think he's referring to Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger played the Joker and then
Yeah.
died as a result. Yeah, that was really tragic. But like, yeah. I think again, it's one of those things you have to. It's all about mental health. Like it boils down to that. Like it's unfortunate what happened, but yeah, it will not happen to me. I promise. I promise.
Yes. And he literally got into this character. You've seen
Yeah.
behind the scenes footage of him portraying this character
Hmm.
and really going into it
Yeah.
because you have to immerse yourself exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes I ask a lot of actors this question. You have to learn to separate the two, the difference between
Yeah.
being yourself and the character.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed a lot of actors on this platform, and I would ask them, have you ever felt yourself going so deep into the character where it's just like, okay, I need to pull back. I'm having an out of body experience. Like, this is too real. I think I just caught myself into a trance. You have to pull back. I'm no longer the character anymore.
Yeah.
I'm myself.
Yeah.
So you have to separate.
Absolutely.
Any more questions, Fashion Dolls? For Stephen and myself, this is such a great conversation. We're just chopping it up here. Drop your favorite superheroes that you would like to see Stephen possibly portray we're going to manifest it, put it out there in the universe.
Let's
And
put it out.
so
Yeah.
if you're just joining, so we've got the new single. When can we expect the album? Because I'm pretty sure the people are waiting for new music project.
Yeah. So an album. So okay. So after the last album that I did, as Voice, Prelude, and Major
Yeah.
Minor, um, I and I started when I started Stephen Voice, I released the plan at that point was I was going to release Summerlust, and then in 2019 I released Tap Your Feet, and then the plan was okay, I'm going to lead up to an album, but then the pandemic hit, and I was just like, man, I have all these songs that I was recording in 2020, prior to 2020. And I felt like, well, I don't want them to just kind of sit there. So I decided in 2020 I was going to release a lot of songs like back to back, like just a bunch of different singles. So I did that. And then that kind of got me feeling like, I don't know if I ever want to release, at that point anyway, I was saying, I don't know if I ever want to release an album again. Like, I love this idea of just releasing songs one after another. Like, when a song is ready, it goes out. Because one thing I don't like about albums as a creator, um, is that a lot of times you sit on like you create and you sit on bodies of work until the whole project is done, and then the song comes out, and then the album comes out. And in today's world where everyone kind of just takes in the project within like really quickly and then kind of discards it, it kind of feels like the songs don't get a chance to breathe. So I enjoy like releasing singles because like every song gets its time in the limelight. But after doing this for like the last like what 2.5 years, I'm at the point where I feel like I think there's another album that wants to come out of me because I feel like I have something else that I want to say, like a cohesive story that I want to say. And I feel like releasing those like one song at a time might not be what needs to be done. So I don't know. I'm toying around with the idea of releasing an album. I'm gonna finish out 2022 with like a lot of songs that I want to put out, like a few songs I want to put out as singles. And then in 2023, I do believe that I'm going to probably most likely release an album. None of it's worked on yet. It's all in my head, but it's more of a feeling than anything else. It's like I think it's time, you know.
Hey, Beyonce gave us her seventh studio album, and
Hmm.
it took a long time because people were speculating. She kept dropping these little hints here and there that she was going to release something, and
Yeah,
then boom, she released Renaissance, which
yeah,
is a two-part album, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and people just went into a frenzy. So you never know.
yeah. Exactly. You just never know. And I don't know. Like for me, I don't. Everything I want to do right now has to feel like it needed to happen. Like I don't want to. Like I'm at the point in my career where I don't feel like I need to to do things for the sake of doing them. Like I feel like I can do things because it feels natural, and I feel like when I do it that way, people really respond because the way I do it feels more authentic. So I'm just at that point. So when it's funny, so it's gonna if I put out an album, it's gonna be technically my fifth album, but it'll also be my first album as Stephen Voice. So it's gonna be an interesting new story. But yeah, I'm excited about whatever's gonna happen.
Okay. Let me see. We got a question from Alan Yankee. Alan Yankee wants to know: are you going to release an underdog album for artists who get over you?
You know
Right.
what? I actually want uh to create a lot of different songs and then leave verses open for artists, but
Mm.
like no big artists, no established artists. I want to just find genuine new artists that are looking to get their chance. And like, if this can somehow be their way to get seen by a few more people, then that'd be dope. But like, I would love that because like I've spent my entire career identifying as like the underdog, and like I'm at the point in my career now where I'm seated at the table with the established
Yeah.
creators, and it feels weird a lot of the time because I don't really feel like I identify a lot with a lot of them because I don't have this mindset of like, yeah, I deserve to be here. I know I deserve to be here, but more like it's not like it doesn't I don't ever want to take it as like this is the world better like listen to me now or else. It's more like I'm just so happy to be here. You know, like when I do something that's exciting, I'm genuinely excited to do it. Like I never want to get to the point where I feel like jaded. Like I'm all like, oh, I'm doing a song with who? Okay. You know, like I never want that to happen. I always want to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing that. With that being said, one of my goals in life is to do a song with Eminem. So if anyone knows Eminem, please tell him. please, please tell Eminem that I want to do a hook or the chorus, a verse. Let me know. Tell him.
You never know who's watching. You're going to manifest that too.
You
And I
know,
want to ask you that too. Is there any possible collabs, any dream collaborations? Who would you like to collaborate? Who would be your top three who you'd like to collaborate?
yeah. I mean, top three. That's a big question. Well, I'll start with the one that's impossible now. But I would have loved to do a song with Michael Jackson. I would have loved,
Uh,
like, I would
Question.
have, yeah, you know, I would have, because I would have loved to get into the studio with Michael Jackson and then sing, and then Michael would be like, my gosh, like I hear myself in you, and I'd say, yes, Michael, because you are my idol. You know, I would have loved that. Um, but yes, like I said, Eminem. I've followed Eminem's career since the Slim Shady LP, and I've just loved seeing his growth. I just more than anything, I just love how authentic he's been as an artist. You know, like he's just been authentic despite what anyone had to say about him. He just kind of did his own thing, and I feel like that's the kind of artist I want to be. Not necessarily what he talks about or whatever, but it's more about like just authenticity as a creator, just saying like, hey, this is who I want to be. You know, like whether or not like you understand that doesn't matter because I'm being my true self, and that's something I've gotten out of his music, and I really respect it. And I think honestly, Justin Timberlake. I this I remember when Justin did the performance. I forget which award show it was, but he did for the performance for "Like I Love You," and I was just like, "This is the same guy from NSYNC." Like, not I'm not putting NSYNC down because I also mess with NSYNC. Okay, like, I love the pop album, but I was just like, "What is happening right now?" And I just love his style, and I've been following his career too. So like, yeah, Justin, Michael, and Eminem are like my dream artists to work with.
I could see that. I definitely could. Let me see. Okay. Ali Yankee says, so are you more grateful than entitled?
Oh, I am absolutely grateful. I cannot resonate with entitled. I just can't. I can't. I think just because of the life I've lived, like I know what it's like to be at the lowest. You know, like I've been in such dark places in my life. I've been so low, and also I've been so high. And I've seen what it's like to go up and down, in between, and I'm grateful for any place that I'm at because first of all, life is this gift that we're given. I mean, it's such a in the randomness of the universe, life exists. Like that in itself is a gift. It's an oxymoron all in its own. So like no, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that I was born with this with a voice that I could nurture. You know, I'm grateful that I was born into a family that allowed me to be the person that I am. I'm grateful for the hardships because without the hardships, I wouldn't have had stories to tell. You know, so I'm grateful for everything, the good, the bad, and I will never, ever, ever act entitled because that is the complete opposite of what my life's journey has been so far.
All right, Fashion Dolls. Any last questions for myself or Stephen before we wrap up? This is such an amazing interview and conversation. I'm glad that I got the honor to speak with you. It's such an honor to speak with you. So,
Uh,
my last question for you is where can everyone follow you and check out your music and your projects? And what advice would you give to people out here? Because we talked about mental health, we talked about a number of things,
yeah.
balance and staying in tune with who you are. What advice would you leave with people? And what gem would you leave with people today?
Yeah, I'll start with that. I think, and I've said it many times, but for me, it's about most of the time the only person, actually in general, the only person that can truly stand in your way is you. And a
Yeah,
lot of times we are the people standing in our own way. Like we convince ourselves that like, oh, something is just it's just impossible. It's impossible. There's no point. You know, and the second you tell yourself it's impossible, there's no point, then you just won't do the thing. And if you don't do the thing, you're right, you may not succeed at that thing, but you'll at least have a satisfaction in knowing you tried. And failure like isn't inherently bad. Failure is either a chance to tell yourself like, maybe this is just not for me, or it's a chance to see what went wrong and see what you can do better. I wouldn't be the person I am today without many mistakes. I've made many mistakes. And honestly, a lot of my mistakes have been the very things that have made me the person that I am because they were unexpected. They were not the point of what I was trying to achieve. I failed at the thing I was trying to do, but in doing so, discovered something else. And here I am because of that. I couldn't tell you how many songs I've recorded where a melody or a lyric was not intentional, where I was supposed to say me, but I said C instead, and they were just like, oh no, actually that's better, like so that's what it is. It's like failures aren't the end of the world. Sometimes there's lessons in them. Sometimes there's wins in them. But get away from that mentality of like I can't. There's no worth. There's no chance. There's no reason to try. Just start. Whatever it is, like when Shia LaBeouf said, "Just do it." There was truth in that. Like you gotta just some way, some shape, do it. Whatever it is. For me, for example, right now, my goal is to be in the MCU. Like I said, I don't know if me going to the gym and training to become like the apex version of myself physically is the way to do it. I don't know because I don't know how to get into the MCU, but I'm taking a step that feels like a step to me. So it's a step. And even if it doesn't lead me to the MCU, it might lead me to something else. You never know. So take a step, whatever that step is. You don't know where it's going to take you. And where can people find me? I think I'm the most active on Instagram. If you want to discover everything else I'm doing, just follow me on Instagram because I will talk about it there. And yeah, that's it.
And check out the new hit single, Fashion Dolls, is
Yes,
out right now. Go and stream it. It is
yes.
out on all streaming platforms with Jaco. Please go and check it out. Ali exists. No more questions for you. We'll be here all day. No, you're fine.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the questions.
Oh, we always have a good time here in the Dollhouse, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this interview with the one and only talented, incredible
Aw.
Mr. Stephen Voice, and I would love to speak to you again. Yep.
I would love to. Yes, please. Yes. Yes.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning into this exclusive sit-down interview with the one and only Mr. Stephen Voice. Please go and check out its single out right now, Fashion Dolls, on all streaming platforms. I love you all, and this interview will be up here and on my YouTube channel. So head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime. I love you
Yes.
all, and I will see you guys next week with an amazing lineup. And again, September 30th, here's a heads up. We have one of the most powerful women in the fashion world ever coming to the platform. I'm not going to say who she is, but you got to follow my stories. Stay tuned because I will drop hints here and there. So I love you all, and you guys be safe this weekend and take care. And remember, like Stephen said, get out of your own way. Please get out of your own. Don't stay stuck in that same mindset. I love
Mhm.
you all, Pastor. You guys take care.